Question: do you need templates for your email marketing? How about tips for crafting a sales funnel or launching a new product or mastering Facebook ads? Why won't someone just invent the Swiss Army knife of marketing? Well, we did, and it's called Digital Marketer Lab. And the best part is I'm gonna let you check it out totally free for 14 days. Here, let me sum it up for you in just 30 seconds. Marketing is complicated, and whether you're a marketing newbie or an experienced professional, it can be difficult to master the fundamentals, much less stay up to date with all the changes. But with DM Lab, we give you everything you need. With detailed templates and guides, as well as up-to-date workshops, you'll get the tools and resources you need to complete all your marketing to-dos. So, click the link to start your free trial today, and I'll see you inside Lab.
Everybody, welcome to the 2020 Make It Big conference. I'm your host, Beatrice Este with BigCommerce, and today I'm here with Richard Lindner, president and co-founder of DigitalMarketer. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Richard. I'm really excited to talk all things holiday, but before we dive in, I'd love to have you kick things off by introducing yourself and telling us how you got started in e-commerce and digital marketing.
Oh, by accident. Totally by accident. I've always been entrepreneurial, come from an entrepreneurial family, and just kind of happened into meeting a guy on my entrepreneurial journey who eventually became a mentor. And, the difference in this particular guy was, it was the first time that I'd ever met anyone who had a completely online business. And he was doing, this was back in the early 2000s, probably 2001, and he was doing about $20 million in online sales. And I was absolutely enamored. And I don't know if he intentionally mentored me or if he just gave in to me just continuing to show up to wherever he was. But this was back in the days where, no quality score on Google or anything like that. You could spin up a new ad account and start spending, $20,000, $30,000, a week with a couple of clicks. So really took me under his wing and kind of introduced me to all things digital marketing. So we opened up 15 or 20 different businesses, mainly in physical products, and built brands and sold those brands. And that was kind of my entry into digital marketing.
So when it comes to the holidays, I think everybody gets really excited, and sometimes they want to go right away to start changing their messaging or maybe start thinking of a new product to sell. But it's really important that they have their brand voice down before beginning anything. So how should retailers and brands approach their messaging strategy when it comes to the holidays?
Yeah, so when it comes to marketing on the holidays, it's critical to change your just normal everyday marketing approach and adjust for the season that people are in, right? And you kind of need to do that by stepping back and kind of acting more like a big brand than a big box. And if you think about that for a minute, it's tough in e-commerce to kind of identify it as the product that you sell, not the customer that you serve. And I think when you think when you look at the difference between like a big box and a big brand, so let's use like Apple or Mercedes as an example for a big brand, and Target as an example for a big box, like a big box store. Well, when Target approaches their holiday kind of promotions, what do they send out? They send out a flyer, right? They're straight into commerce. When Apple or Mercedes starts to prepare for their promotion, because they are not a seller of everything you can think of, right? They're not a big box store. They're a big brand. They tend to go more to a narrative. They tell a story. They engage their ideal customer, and they make them feel, right? They make them feel nostalgia or understood, heard, like someone gets them. And I think the first thing that we have to do, no matter if we're e-commerce or not, is step back and think of ourselves as a big brand in the way that they market. So we need to engage and entertain our ideal customer and not go straight into that commerce kind of component.
And as brands build their narrative, what's the best way to begin communicating to customers during the holiday season?
Yeah, so I think it's storytelling, right? I really do think it's storytelling, especially in video. Again, not to go straight into commerce, but the first thing we have to do is aggregate attention, right? No matter what holiday we're talking about. I mean, obviously at the end of the year, we're talking about some pretty big holidays, but any holiday season that we're talking about, no matter big or small, we have to step back and ask ourselves, what is the ideal or average day of our customer, right? What does their average day look like? And how can we call out to them and tell a story that first shows them that we understand, right? Because if you don't do something to get awareness, right? Like that's step one in holiday marketing is awareness and attention. Whether you already have the audience, right? If it's your database or your pixeled audience or your Facebook fans or followers, or you're trying to expand beyond that audience, we have to make people aware that we exist, and we do that by engaging them. Now, so if you think about storytelling and how you can capture someone's attention through story, the power that comes along with that it is unmatched anywhere else. Like if you can tell this ideal customer, you can tell them a story that says, I understand what your average day looks like, especially right now. Like the holiday season is a season and everyone's average day changes, good, bad, or otherwise. So I think we first have to say, I understand you, engage. Then we need to entertain them. Then we need to remind them of something that ties you and your brand and your product to the holiday, right? And that's where people usually get stuck. But it doesn't matter what you can sell. You can tie that back to the holiday and the average day and what someone's going through or feeling right now. I think that, companies like Apple do an amazing job at this, right? In their advertising. They put out a commercial last year called The Surprise. And it was just an amazing commercial that walked you through a family, 2 parents, 2 children, traveling from wherever their home is to a grandparent's house. And they didn't show the holiday, which was like the social media version of the holiday, right? Everyone gathered around the table and everyone's dressed up and it's perfect and you have the perfect meal and there's a fire and there's snow. Like people are kind of over that. What they showed was their ideal customer traveling in the holidays, which is cumbersome. And they kept shoving iPads in the kids' faces and just do this and just do this. And you expect this as a parent, you go like, oh, been there, electronic babysitter. And you're kind of, you're going, oh yeah, I've been there. That's my average day. Traveling during the holidays is tough. And you get to grandpa's house and they're there and grandpa's kind of grumpy and they keep shoving the iPad in the kids' hands. And you think, well, they're binging Netflix or watching TV. And as the story unfolds, then you find out that grandma passed away. And this is their first Christmas, which was what they were showing that particular holiday, without her. But at the end of the commercial, what the kids did on the iPad was put together a slide presentation and added pictures of grandma in there. Boom. And they present that to grandpa. So one, it's called The Surprise, and it's kind of Freudian a little bit, right? You're surprised at the end. It's a surprise for grandpa, but they did such an amazing job of showing the average day of parents with children traveling on the holidays, and the undertone was their product and how it made it a little bit better. And at first you're thinking, oh, I've been there as a parent. I've given my kid the device and let that be their babysitter. But at the end you realize like, wow, look at what these children created and what they made people feel. So it tied their product seamlessly into the holiday, but we all felt it. If you're a parent and you've ever traveled, you were instantly engaged in that. But what they didn't show was the perfect holiday. They didn't show that. They showed the kind of the average frustrations of traveling with children in the holidays. So they did such a great job. And I think we can all do that as brands too.
A common theme for the holiday shopping season is the theme of giving back. What advice do you have for brands and retailers looking to partner with charitable organizations this year?
It's a great question. It's one of our strategies that we use as well. We've partnered with the same brands for the past 5 years. And what we do is we we give a percentage of all of our sales during that promotion to the brand, and then usually we'll match those sales as well. And I'll tell you, it's a big driver. Now, it can be tricky, right? You have to go in and say, how are we going to select this charitable organization? And you can go in and you can look at it from a ideal customer, right? You can say, what is something, if you really know that avatar, if you really know who your avatar is, who your buyer is, what they care about, what they're passionate about, and you can align that to a brand, then you can almost pull that in and seamlessly enter into that holiday partnership and know that they'll instantly get it. Now, if you can't say that, you just kind of have to choose, right? You have to choose a brand and you have to connect that for your audience. You have to connect the why, right? Why did you choose this brand? Why is that important? But it's also a great time for you, when you're storytelling, to kind of step back and tell the charity story, right? You can lead with their story, tell their story, show their impact, show why what they're doing is important, and transition that to you and why you've chosen to support that charity. It's an amazing time for you to see yourself as a guide in the hero's journey, not the hero, right? The hero gets to be kind of that charitable organization, that thing that's bigger than yourself. Again, if you want to think about how do we make people feel this holiday season, you're going to make that happen through showing that you know who they are, but also through showing that you're going to focus on something other than yourself, right? And I think partnering with the right charitable organization is a great way to not only be socially responsible, but to tell their story and to also drive your sales in a way that shows that you're a good, solid company.
Awesome. Well, I want to shift gears here for a second and talk about folks that aren't in the gift market. So let's say B2B companies, for example. How can they tie in the holiday season?
So if you're a B2B company, what you have to remember is you're marketing to a human, right? There is not an inanimate object or a machine making that buying decision. At the end of whatever your sales channel is, a person is sitting there making a decision. There are motivating factors to them that you have to consider when putting together your marketing, right? So what is their average day? What are they thinking right now? So if you're in B2B sales and someone is thinking, or your average customer is thinking, I just want to get through my week, or I just want to get through this next 2 weeks so that I can leave and I can ride this year out and go celebrate with my family. You may not lean into that in the marketing, but it needs to be there, right? You need to know what their motivating factors are. Are they really pushing and driving right now because this is their Super Bowl? Or are they coasting? Or are they in a position to where they've got budget that if they don't use it, will be cut next year? Or is it, are they just happy as heck because they're cheerful and it's the holiday season and everyone else is speaking to them like a robot? So remember, if you're in B2B, you're still selling to a person. So think H to H, human to human. Like, what is that person's average day like? And how can you get them a win with your product or service?
Another big question that comes up for either B2B businesses or folks in the gift giving market is what product should they sell during the peak trading season? Many times some people think that they may have to come out with a new line, or simply just, do I sell my best sellers or do I sell inventory that I want to get rid of? What's the best approach here?
Figuring out what to sell, or at least what to lead with during the holidays, is big. And in fact, this should be one of the first things that brands do when they're putting together their campaign or their creative. A lot of the mistakes that I see brands make is to try to use it as purely a liquidation of overstock, right? And really, that's just another way of saying sell all the stuff that no one wanted. Don't do that. Doesn't mean that stuff can't be on your site or for sale, but that's not what you should lead with. If you want to have a super successful holiday sale, lead with your best-selling items and sell them as low as you can stand, right? And one way to kind of get in this mindset is to say, what if we looked at our best sellers as loss leaders, right? What if they were there purely to attract as many people as humanly possible at the size of the discount? Think going back to like the big box, big brand mentality. This is where, when we're into the sale, we do need to look at big box, right? We need to start our holiday promotions thinking like a big brand and getting that message out there and awareness. But once we're into the commerce, it is appropriate to have that sale. We need to start thinking like the big box, because let's be honest, they got the holidays figured out. So what do they have? They have loss leaders. Now, they don't necessarily have a lot of them, but when you're talking, Black Friday shopping, you're talking $10, $15, $25 TVs, right? People freak out. Now, I don't want to get into how many of them they have and all the regulations, because that gets a little weird. But what they're doing there, or the principle there, is take something highly desirable that people want and sell it for as low as humanly possible, because you're going to get more eyeballs and more foot traffic in the store. That's the mentality that you need to take as an e-commerce seller, right? What is the thing that people want and have bought the most from you throughout the rest of the year? How can you lead with that, whether it's a limited quantity or not, but at the largest discount possible? So start there, right? You really got to start with your best-selling item, and then think about that the holiday-specific line. Like, if your industry, especially is a B2C and lends itself to customization for the holiday, like, that's perfect. Then this is a time to roll out kind of that line well in advance, so that you can be there to not only maybe be in the gift giving business or in the B2B, but to have a specific new line for this holiday season. Absolutely. If you're not going to be in kind of a holiday specific line, or should you launch a new product? The answer there is maybe, right? Maybe. Is this the best time to launch a new product? Or is launching a new product kind of an event in itself? Does that drive a lot of demand? Is now the time to do that? Or are you kind of wasting this season and the opportunity cost of that new product launch during a time where people are just buying and not necessarily engaged in something new? It also lends itself to asking more around like demand forecasting. What does that mean for you from supply chain, from distribution, if you're going to introduce a new product line? Like, sometimes the worst thing you can do is be really good at marketing and break the rest of the business. So when we're talking about what are we selling, like, start with what people want the most that you already sell. Then talk about, can we expand or introduce a new line? Should we launch something new? And kind of what categories should we focus on? So as e-commerce sellers, I think a lot of the time we're looking at our SKUs and saying, like, what SKUs should we put on sale? I think you first need to step back and look at your categories and say, what categories are we going to focus on in the sale for this holiday? And then what are our best sellers in each category? And what discount can we sell those for?
For sure. And I'd love to extend on that point, because I think marketing and merchandising definitely go in tandem. How can sellers prepare their e-commerce stores this year for the holidays?
When you're marketing and when you're launching your holiday campaign, your site needs to change, right? That's just it. If people get to your site, they need to know very easily how to get to your sale and why and how you've tied whatever holiday it is back to your company. So we need to think about things like changing up our search and our features, right? Maybe gift giving guides, especially if you're in the gift markets. Don't assume that people who show up, one, have good taste, and two, want to make any more decisions this holiday season. Like, the number one thing you can do is make it very clear on what items people should buy for who. Like, most of us have a list of people we're buying for, and let's be honest, we don't exactly know everyone on that list as well as we wish we could, or as well as we wish we did. Like, there are some people on your list of people that we're all buying for in holidays, and we know exactly what they like, exactly who they are, and exactly what to get them. And then we get to the number 4 or 5 person on our list, and we go, I don't know. So the more you can focus on serving your customer by telling them, if you have this person on your list, buy them this, the easier you make it, not just to buy, but to make a decision. Like, if you're making decisions easy, making gift buying easy, that's going to buy you a lot this holiday season with your ideal customer. So when we're thinking about someone showing up on your site, you have to say, what needs to change on my site between today and when I'm in my holiday promotion? So if you can have a gift giving guide, What do you change on maybe that top nav? How do you feature like gifts for him, gifts for her, or identifying the avatars that someone could be buying for in your company and calling those out, right? Gifts for executives, gifts for this, whatever your market is, whoever you're selling to, come up with the top 3 to 5 people that person would be buying for that you would have relevant gifts for. Make easy search that would list those gifts. Start thinking about how you would change your sorting in your nav and in the lists of by price, right? By category. Really go all in on making sure that there's a seamless flow between what you're showing in that video, who you serve, how you serve them, and the ultimate gift for that person.
So we all know that the holiday season is pretty famous for its promotions. What can sellers do to make sure that their promotions are going to be able to drive sales?
When we're talking about how to increase the average order value or complete the purchase or get people to really buy during the holiday on your site, we need to go back and take a look at a couple of things. And one, we need to go back and say, if we are taking our best stuff and making them loss leaders, how are we actually generating any revenue or profit during this time? And that's when we get into bundling and upsells. And that's why those categories are so important, so that you can make suggestions for the next sales or for the next item or sell. But man, we've got to hone in our promotions and be super, super specific. So again, I said, we need to make a switch from thinking like big brand to thinking like big box. We then need to kind of really hone in on individual items in our marketing, right? So when we're out marketing, Target may get away with saying our holiday flyer is here. And that's going to drive massive web traffic and even sales. Don't assume that you can do the same thing. When you're driving people to your site, if we've optimized the site for search, we need to start by being super specific. So when we're putting together our promo, we need to go in and map out our best-selling items of each category and understand that if they're loss leaders, they're going to be traffic drivers. So how are we going to build our initial marketing campaigns around those loss leaders? And if we do that, we're going to drive massive traffic to the site. Now, once we've driven massive traffic to the site, how are we going to not only convert that traffic, but increase that average order value? Again, that's going to go back with bundling. That's going to go with upsells and cross sells. And this is when you get to be creative, right? I love brands that are super creative in almost creating multiple urgency or scarcity events, right? Mini almost launches. So theming days and saying, today we're going to have a deal to where anyone who buys over $100 gets 30% off an add-on gift card, right? Or a mystery gift one day. Or I think when we were talking, you shared an amazing example about a company that would refund someone's order one day. And that was a way that they kind of drove that traffic. So when you're driving traffic and increasing those, not only the conversion aspect of it, but increasing the order value, like these are all the strategies that you really need to get specific about and get clear in your planning and your prepping.
And lastly, for those tuning into this session, what are a few key takeaways you'd like them to walk away with?
Yeah, so I'd say takeaway number one is entertain and engage before you sell. Like, don't be so quick to go straight into the sale. So think big brand before big box. Put something out to call out and engage your ideal customer and really entertain and engage them. And let that be the relational equity buildup before you then ask for the sale. Thing number two is think about the entire customer experience, not just the promotion. So how are you going to match that theme of whatever creative you come up with to, make them aware, to entertain and engage them? How are you pulling that theme all the way through? So when they get to your site, they know they're in the right place. And I guess number three is tie it to the season, even if it's not a gift. And you do that by getting in the average day of your ideal customer and making sure that their drivers and why they're actually making that purchase. And you're speaking to that in your marketing and all of your promotion.
That is awesome advice. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining us and helping us make it big this holiday season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great.
That was a great session with Richard Lindner, president and co-founder of DigitalMarketer. Be sure to engage with us on social media using the hashtag MakeItBigConf and share what you've learned. If you're looking for more insights, be sure to tune into more Make It Big conference sessions by heading over to www.bigcommerce.com/makeitbig.